Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. Proud to be here hanging out with you every Monday through Friday. We're also here on Facebook Live on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and all of it is inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. And look what I have. Look what somebody awesome brought here. There's the Cafe Kubal cup. What is in it? Well, that's the pumpkin spice chai DT special. And I get to sip on that this morning and enjoy that and warm myself up. It's a beautiful day up here, but it's a little bit cool outside, so a perfect day. Every day is a perfect day to go to Cafe Kubal, but a perfect day to warm myself up with some pumpkin spice chai. Do that today. I get mine with almond milk. You can get yours however you'd like it. It's available at all locations on 3501 James Street, 401 South Salina Street, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital, 324 West Water Street, and 208 North Townsend Street in the Holly Green Cafe. So get your DT Special Pumpkin Spice Chai or your dark roast or whatever you like today, as well as their fantastic sandwiches, and those chocolate chip cookies are impeccable. So make sure you get yourself over to Cafe Kubal. They'll also come to you with their mobile cafe, and their local delivery will deliver right to your doorstep. And if you live in Onondaga County, you do not pay a delivery charge. So big shout out and a big thanks to Cafe Kubal. Find out more at cafekubal.com. With that being said, inside of my and Pa's popcorn.com's What's Poppin', PJ's popping first. He's going to be with us here for the first hour, maybe a couple minutes more. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about the state of the Jaguars and what the heck is going wrong on a 2-game losing streak, and what's happening with Jacksonville and our thoughts on that team moving forward. We will also be discussing college football and the confusion as the Big Ten gets set to start right after my birthday, and the Pac-12 after that, which will be multiple weeks already in for the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, and the AAC. So we'll discuss the conundrum of college football and how tough it'll be for the College Football Playoff Committee to decide. They're going to put Alabama and Clemson, and we know that. But besides that, they got to figure out the other two. So we'll discuss that and Major League Baseball's playoffs, of course. Then at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, joining us from the West Coast is my guy Darius Kelly, who played for Syracuse football as a defensive back. He is now the head coach of the Catalina Foothills High School team out in Arizona, and his team just got cleared to play, and their season schedule was released. So we'll talk with him about the state of Arizona, his team, and the state of Syracuse football. And then we'll round out today's show with my video and audio Q&A with Coach Q, as well as Tiana Mangakahia of Syracuse Orange women's basketball, as Tiana has not only gotten through her cancer, but the NCAA has cleared her to play, giving her a waiver so that she can get back on the court, and Tiana will be returning to Division I women's basketball this season, and I have an opportunity to speak with both of them, so you'll get all of that today. So much good show, so many great things coming up. It's a happy Thursday, and I'm bringing PJ on first. Papa Joe, I miss you to pieces. How you doing?
Good morning, Daniel. Fine. Well, we miss you too. It's a beautiful Florida. Still dodging the coronavirus, but I guess everyone's doing that, so whatever.
Yeah, trying to stay away from the Rona and put ourselves in a good position here as things move forward. What's going on down in Florida? What's keeping you busy? I know you got your cars down there, your classic cars and whatnot. You got a beautiful, wonderful wife in Miss Mary. You got your meatball number one in Joey. You got your baseball going on. So what's keeping you busy down there?
I am busy with a lot of things, mostly mental. Physical-wise, I can't do too much. But the cars are sitting pretty. There's a little bit of work I'm doing on one of them, on the 57 Chevy. I'm doing a little bit of things on them, but nothing that's not going to hurt the operation of the car. Football, this is our time of the year. I'm glad baseball is going on because I turn it on every day and watch it, and I like what's happening. I like to see the good teams playing good and some of the teams that aren't quite so good that sort of snuck into the playoffs, and they're the ones that are going to be tossed early, like the Miami Marlins, for instance. But it's a lot of fun. It's fun to follow the football, of course, with my Gators and the Jaguars. Oh, my Jags! Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Geez. So we gotta help them out, Daniel. A shout out to my good bro Brewski up in Milwaukee, who's been tuning us in the last couple of weeks. So I got to say, get a shout out to him. All my bros are up there in Milwaukee, and they're getting ready for Wisconsin football, which usually is very good, and they're going to have to battle Ohio State for their Big Ten crown. But I'm happy. I'm ready to go, and let's go.
That's right. That coming from Papa Joe here this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and excited to hop right into it. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Funny thing is, one of my buddies, Johnny Fordyce, he's been on the show before. He is a huge Cincinnati fan, and of course he's a Joe Burrow fan as an extension of that. So he came up to me last Saturday, and I went out to the Wildcat Sports Pub, and I was there with my mom watching the Gators, actually, watching the Florida Gators, and showing some love and supporting that for Papa J. And so we were out there, and he came up to talk trash to me. He's like, "Hey, man, Cincinnati," and I looked right at him, and I go, "I picked Cincinnati to beat Jacksonville." And he was like, "Oh, well," he didn't know what to say after that because there was no trash to be talked. I looked at him, I go, "Johnny, I like Joe Burrow. I believe that he's been knocking on the door of winning his first game. And I know that Jacksonville's on the road and they've been playing like garbage, so he's probably going to get that. He's probably going to get that opportunity to happen. It's probably going to happen, in my opinion, in this game. And so I'm not concerned about it by any inch of it. And sure enough, he did. He got the victory and he was able to move forward. So, what are your thoughts on that and the fact that Joe Burrow got his first win in the NFL and that he got it against the Jaguars?
Oh, I hate to admit that, but Joe Burrow is the real deal. He's a hell of a quarterback. An older kid, an older senior at LSU, so he came pretty well prepared when he left LSU. He's going to be something special in this league. And I hope that Cincinnati can build a team around them. But I thought that the Jaguars defense would play a lot better against them. I thought that they would do some stunts and something like that. Disguise their coverages a little bit, to confuse them a little. But you're not going to rattle a guy like that. I mean, he's just cool, period. He's cool. And Jags are not rushing a passer. You can't not rush the passer in the NFL and have these guys sit back there for 4 and 5 seconds, get ready to find out where they're going to throw the ball. I mean, you just can't do that. I mean, every team and every quarterback and every team has the ability to throw the ball, and we did not do that. And I'm very upset about it. I don't think it could be scheme wise. I don't know if we're putting the right players in the right spots. It's obvious that the offense is clicking along, although not at 100%. They're certainly fun to watch. But the defense is another story. And Daniel, I don't know what else to say. It's that Jaguar has to get after the quarterback. They have to get after him, and they got to stop the run, which is basic with any football team in the NFL. That's what you have to do: stop the run and get after the passer. And they haven't done that.
Yeah, Jacksonville has been quiet, and unfortunately, I mean, we looked at they started off the first couple of weeks, and they looked like they were pretty strong, and they were doing some good things, and then it just kind of fell off. Like I said, they lost to Paul Bunyan in week 3, and when they lost to Paul Bunyan after he got done chopping the wood out there in the field, losing to Ryan Fitzpatrick, letting him run, letting him, beat you with his arm, letting him, take off on the ground, which is not a Ryan Fitzpatrick thing that, I really picture him as. Seeing all of that happen and see where, Jacksonville went in that Miami game at home in Jacksonville, I just didn't feel good about it. And them going on the road right after that loss, 31-13, to put themselves in, to be in the position that they were in and look the way that they looked, I just felt like coming off of that game, there wasn't enough time for them to shake it off. I thought anybody that was going to play them was going to have a good situation, and the Bengals did, and they went on the road to Jacksonville went on the road to Cincinnati, and they gave Joe Burrow his first win. And I'm not to take away from Joe Burrow and the team, I'm just saying Jacksonville, they put up somewhat of a fight, but Joe Burrow's been knocking on the door. He did it against Cleveland, 35-30. He did it in overtime with Philadelphia, 23-23, where they tied. So, it was only a matter of time before Joe Burrow got a win. But now Joe Burrow will go down in history that his first ever NFL win came against the Jacksonville Jaguars. How do you feel about that, Papa Joe?
Oh, that's awful. That's awful. But you're right. I mean, you got to give the kid credit. I mean, he's been preparing for this role for quite a while. And as I stated earlier, he's an older guy, maybe 23 probably by now. And he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing on the football field. And unfortunately, he caught us at a weak time. The defense was supposed to be good this year. I know they gave away Campbell and Darius and some of these other guys, that idiot Ramsey, but I thought that they would be a lot tougher at the line of scrimmage, and they're not doing that. And it's unfortunate, but they have to stop the run, and they have to get after the passer. And so, normally when NFL teams are playing a rookie quarterback, they say, "Oh, all we got to do is rush him. And he'll rattle, and he'll do this, and he'll throw the ball away, or he'll intentionally ground and do something stupid, But Joe Burrow, he ain't like that. I mean, they didn't rattle him, and he was sitting back there cool as could be, and was ripping away. So, unfortunately, it's a little note of history, I guess you want to call it that he got his first win against the Jaguars. But better yet, I'd like to see the Jaguars fix their problems. Miles Jack can't play he can't play every position. I mean, the guy is a beast. And Schilbert's doing a good job too, but those two guys, they can only cover so much. The defensive backs, now Hayden is on the IR. That's a tough one right there.
Yeah.
You got C.J. Henderson. I'm not sure he's going to come back from his shoulder injury. Cam Robinson is going to be playing, I hope. Laviska Shenault, he's got hurt a little bit too, a little dinged up, but I'm more concerned with C.J. Henderson. He was supposed to be the one that was going to settle things down for us and forget numbnuts there. What's his name? Hey, Ramsey.
Yeah.
So I worry about that. I worry about the defense a little bit. I think they have the players to compete. We can't play every game 28-25 or 35-30. Minshew's going to put points on the board. That's just the way he plays football. And the guys love to play for him, and that's obvious. I mean, he spreads the ball around. He's got a lot of receivers that he can go to, and even Williams now out of the Thompson out of the backfield. So, with that being said, I think the Jaguars have got to fix their defense. They have time to do it now. They played it on Thursday. Now they got some time to go on up to Sunday, and they're going. Where are they going to Houston? And Houston's having their own problems.
Yeah.
But Houston also has a star in the making, and Deshaun Watson. So it's not going to be easy. And I read a little article just yesterday about J.J. Watt got pissed off at Bill O'Brien. They had a big shouting match. So that was a couple weeks ago. I don't know why they didn't break then, but it didn't. So maybe that was the beginning of the end when you got one of the best players in football start shouting at your coach, and they're not doing the right thing, and do this, do that, do that. It lends to a tough environment to win. I mean, look, O'Brien did a good job there. I mean, he won their league about 4 out of 6 years or something like that. He made some bonehead moves in the front office. That's one thing I don't really agree with. I don't really agree where a coach has to be a general manager too. You got enough to do coaching a football team, setting up for the draft, drafting your players, checking the IR's list for this and that, and see what players are available that you can sign up. That's a big enough job as it is.
Yeah.
When you do two jobs like that, you're really spreading yourself thin. I mean, you don't want to be counting hot dogs and Cokes and everything like that. You want to be counting points on the field. So they're catching Houston at a bad time right now because Houston's going to be angry. Maybe O'Brien did lose the team. That's what they're saying. I don't think so. I think he's too classy for that, but he just wasn't putting the X's and the O's together this season. And you got a defensive coordinator, I think it's Romeo Cornell, who used to be a coach head coach in the league. Now he's going to take over. But Romeo, he's no offensive genius. He's a defensive coach. But he's a good coach, of course. I don't know if he's going to last, but it's laying all this out like this. It's going to be exceptionally hard for the Jaguars to come up with a game plan to play a team like this where they're already 0-4 and they're fired up to win a game, and they're going to do it for their new coach, you know, rah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So the Jaguars are going to be going into a hostile environment, and they better, if they win the toss, they better get the ball because I want to see them score on their first possession. So other than that, we got a tough road ahead of us.
Yeah, you know, and speaking here with Papa Joe this morning in his normal post on Thursday mornings coming to us from the Sunshine State, you know, it is a very, you know, it's dicey for Jacksonville right now. It's not a great place for the Jaguars to be in. And, you know, like you said, I mean, to bring up Bill O'Brien, I mean, listen, Bill came over to them from Penn State, and Bill, you know, he won the division with the Texans a bunch of times, but that's because the division was awful. You know, he won the division because Tennessee wasn't finishing. He won the division because Jacksonville was playing like garbage. He won the division because the Colts couldn't get it done and Andrew Luck was hurt and whatnot. So, to me, you know, was he really showing himself as a great coach when he was winning those times? I don't think so. And then on top of that, you know, you talk about the fact that, you know, he's the coach and the GM, and you can't do both. You can't. Because the general managers, I mean, if you look at that, you know, that's like saying, okay, well, you're going to be the manager and you're going to be the chef. So you're going to go out there and you're going to be the chef, you're going to make the food, but then you also have to manage everybody in the dining room. So somebody comes in the dining room with an issue and they say, you know, hey, I want to take the day off and Jill's going to take my shift and this and that, and you're cooking 3 steaks and you got a lobster tail going. You can't talk to anybody about it. You can't do that. You can't be both. You can't be cooking in the kitchen, chefing it up, you know, sauteing this while you're trying to, like, make the schedule with your left hand, sauteing with your right hand, dealing with issues, calling this person. You can't do that. You can't be on the phone trying to figure out why the water heater's not working while you're trying to cook. And that's what Bill O'Brien had to do in Houston. It was wrong. You either hire a general manager, and you hire a coach. Now, maybe it saved him a little bit of dough. Maybe it saved the Houston Texans, you know, for, you know, the money-wise, and that's all well and good. But listen, you want to save money? Figure out a way to, I don't know, you know, with concessions to have somebody work the ice cream and the hot dogs at the same. I have no idea, but you don't do it when it comes to, I mean, I'm not for giving 2 jobs to one person anyways, because I feel like everybody deserves an opportunity, and why cancel out jobs in our country or in our community? But the reality of it all is when you look at this, you can't be a GM and a head coach. You just can't. Because the day-to-day jobs of the general manager are very, very different than the day-to-day jobs of the head coach. Now, does it give Bill O'Brien more control over the players that he gets to coach because he's selecting them? Yeah. But at the same time, you can't do both of these things at once. The general manager is supposed to oversee the head coach, work with the head coach, and that's not going to happen in a situation like this. So I think that Bill O'Brien, I think he was set up to fail with having both of those jobs. I don't think that you can give your all to both of them at the same time. I'm not saying that he didn't, and I'm not saying that he couldn't. I'm just saying that I don't think that your all is ever going to be enough when you have 2 high-profile jobs and you're trying to do both of them at the same time. You're essentially trying to sit upstairs in the office while you're on the field coaching. You can't be in 2 places at once. And so I think that ultimately this was doomed from the giddy-up. And the thing is, if they do well, he gets double the credit. If they do what they're doing right now, he gets double the blame. And unfortunately, he ended up with double the blame.
It's true. But he's a good coach, and he'll land on his feet somewhere. They don't have as many problems as the Jaguars do, though. I mean, it's probably going to be a competitive game, and I think that Watson will certainly shine. He usually does. He's an extraordinary quarterback. Probably Dabo Swinney's best player he's ever coached, probably. But the Jaguars have got to they've got to come up with a decent game plan defense-wise to stop them. And of course, on offense, you're going to have to look out for their defense, which is J.J. Watt, who he's not playing as well as he could because he's been hurt for so many times. But you know, you have to account for J.J. Watt wherever you are in the field, whether he's playing inside or playing on the outside, rushing a pass or whatever. The Jaguars have got some fundamental problems on defense that they need to address, and they need backup in the defensive secondary. Of course, now with Hayden I don't know who's going to sub for him now. If C.J. Henderson can't go, can only go a little bit. Now you got another problem.
Yeah.
They were thinking, when you draft a guy like C.J. Henderson, you just stick him back there for 7 or 8 years and not worry about it. Well, now you got to worry about it because the kid's hurt. He's a hell of a football player, but he's hurt. And, there's only so many things that you can do on defense, but you got to do them right. You got to do them well. Miles Jack can't be everywhere. He's extraordinary. He flies from sideline to sideline, rushes the passer when he has to, and grabs the infield, grabs the backfield, and makes the tackle on a halfback coming back. It's hard. It's hard. Now, I'm more concerned about the defense playing better than I am for Minshew. I think Minshew is doing a good job. He's certainly talented enough to carry the team, but I don't think you should put it all on him. They got to have a good running attack, which they do now. This little kid's a heck of a player from, was it Eastern Illinois or Illinois State or something like that? Heck of a player. And he's got 4 or 5 wideouts out there that he can throw at. His 2 tight ends, Eifert and Shanahan, are going to be fine. He's got enough weapons to score points, and that's what he's been doing. So the Jaguars defense has got to keep these guys in the game. When Minshew gets on the field, he can win a game.
Yeah, and we look at this thing. You talk about Gardner Minshew II. Speaking here with Papa Joe, speaking on the Jaguars and the state of the Jaguars. Here's some interesting things to kind of add to your point with Gardner Minshew doing good things and the defense being an issue for Jacksonville. Gardner Minshew's completion percentage, that he's got over 1,100 yards passing this season through the first 4 weeks, and his completion percentage is 72.1%. On the defensive side, so that adds context to Gardner Minshew. 1,138 yards, 72.1% completion percentage, double the touchdowns to interceptions, 8-4. On the defensive side, just to bring it to you, Cincinnati's Joe Burrow was sacked 3 times in the first game that he ever had as a quarterback in the NFL. He was sacked 3 times by the Chargers. He was sacked 3 times by the Browns. He was sacked 8 times by the Eagles. And their defense is nothing to write home about. He was sacked 1 time by Jacksonville. So you look at both of these things. You look at Gardner Minshew, 70+% completion percentage, double the touchdowns and interceptions. So to your point, he is playing pretty well. You look at DJ Chark coming back. He immediately goes to him. Laviska Shenault, utilizing him as a rookie. That's been good. James Robinson, undrafted running back out of Illinois State, standing at 5'9", 5'10", and he's been great. And then you look at the defensive side, and to your point, Joe Burrow is a rookie quarterback. He's supposed to make rookie mistakes. He's supposed to get comfortable to the speed of the game. And granted, the SEC is like NFL light, but the reality of it all is Joe Burrow being sacked 3 times by the Chargers, 3 times by the Browns, 8 times by the Eagles that have 1 win this season, and Jacksonville only sacks him 1 time. I think that shows you right there. They're not even getting to a rookie quarterback 4 games into the season. How are they going to get to a Tom Brady? How are they going to get to a Deshaun Watson? Guys like, and I know that they don't play them all, but I'm just saying, how are they supposed to get to the best of the best? How are you supposed to take down an Aaron Rodgers, a Ben Roethlisberger, if you have trouble sacking a rookie quarterback, and that your team in the first 4 weeks was the worst at getting to the quarterback behind the Chargers, who aren't that great, the Browns, who are never that good since they came back in 99, and to the Eagles that are 1-2-1 that sacked him 8 times. You only got to him once. That says something to me.
Well, it's true. I mean, they better get after Watson this week, or they're going to wind up losing 50-10 or something like that. I've always liked Watson. He's a heady player, a good quarterback, a good runner. He's just a good quarterback. Period. Now, I don't know if Jacksonville has enough people to put into the places where they're hurting at. If they don't think that Henderson is going to play, then they need someone back there who can do it. With Hayden being gone, they need just someone there. I don't know who. I haven't looked at the roster anytime soon, and I don't see any activity. Oh, it says football activity. Jacksonville placed DJ Hayden on the injury reserve. That's the only thing I see. So. Yeah. They better come up with a good plan, and they better have it strong too, because they keep rolling. Although Watson doesn't have Hopkins anymore, but he's still a formidable quarterback who can thread the needle anywhere. He can do it anywhere.
Absolutely.
I want to see a tough defense. I want to see him stop the run. I want to see him get after the quarterback. Because when you go on offense and we look at the little Robertson guy scooting all over the place, and Minshew's dumping the passes here and there and all over the place, it's fun to watch. It is fun to watch. If you're a Jacksonville fan, even the hardcore fans in Jacksonville, you gotta like watching him. You gotta like watching him play football. He moves around in the pocket like Aaron Rodgers does. He moves his feet left and right, and he senses a sack. He moves up and out. It's just fun to watch. And his receivers know when he starts dancing around like that to break the route up and see if they can find a crease somewhere where he can get him the football. Now, that is fun to watch. The defense is not fun to watch, unfortunately. It's not fun to watch. And I've stated this, several times in the show already, Miles Jack can't be everywhere. Yeah. So, Miles Jack will wind up playing defensive back, for Christ's sake. That can't happen. Jacksonville got to tune it up. They really got to dial it in because playing a guy like Watson is not easy. I know they play him a couple times a year, but, this guy can put up 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in a heartbeat. So be ready, Jacksonville. Be ready.
Yeah, and to look at Jacksonville's depth chart here as we speak with Papa Joe from the Sunshine State inside a Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, which is right here with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The injury bug has been biting the NFL all over. The 32 teams, people dealing with issues. Cam Robinson, strong left tackle, coming from Alabama, but he gets hurt a lot. Brandon Linder, a center that Jacksonville's been able to rely on, he gets hurt. Both of them are hurt right now, both of them with knee injuries. Cam Robinson's backup, Will Richardson, has an illness, and he's questionable for this game. And there's not a lot of depth on the offensive line again, so they need these guys to be here. Josh Allen, he's got an injury right now at defensive end for Jacksonville. He has a knee injury. Miles Jack right now has an ankle injury. DJ Hayden's on the IR. CJ Henderson's questionable to play. So all around the board here, Jacksonville has some issues at offensive line, defensive line, and in the secondary as well as at linebacker. You can't afford to lose these guys. And at the same time, depth comes in again. Taven Bryan is nothing to write home about from Florida, and we've talked about it before with your Gators, PJ. And he's the starting he's one of the starting defensive tackles right now because he has to be. So, DeJuan Smoot's been moved around. But, we're looking at backups that are injured in the third string and the second string. We're looking at the first stringers that are hurt. Jacksonville is a team that is 1-3 on a 3-game losing streak that has injuries to the players that they need to be out there and injuries to their backups that would come out if they can't come out. So it just looks like the perfect storm right now for Jacksonville to continue to struggle, which is unfortunate.
Yes, it is. Laviska Shenault is on that list, too. He's got a hamstring problem, and he's exciting to watch. I predicted this a couple of months ago because the talk out of camp was that he really was lighting up the camp. Got to get him the ball. Out of the backfield, splitting them out, slotting them, whatever, tight end, whatever. I do have one good thing to say about what Jacksonville's doing, and that's Shad Khan. He has come up with a plan. Lot J has always been that big old white elephant there, just not doing anything, and can't get enough cars to park in there. So he has come up with a $225 million project with the city of Jacksonville to build an incredible structure with shops and restaurants and so on and so on and so on. I don't have all the particulars, but if Shad Khan, we talked about him as an owner before. He's kind of a laid back guy, but doesn't get involved in stuff. He lets his son do that, and he's not the kind of guy that will fire a coach and his staff in the middle of the year. Now he's got a project that he's really getting his teeth into, and he wants this to accent what he's doing with the stadium and the Jaguars. So I'm thinking to myself, well, if this came out yesterday and he's willing to do that in company with the city of Jacksonville, then he's going to be around here for a while. and he's going to be concentrating on that and really not worried about if Doug Marrone is going to lose his job. But with Todd Kahn believing and he wants to stay in Jacksonville, which I hope he does, and he's going to have this project in Lot J. It says a lot about Kahn and the way he does business. So, he wants to be here. He wants the team to be successful. He hasn't had the best luck with head coaches, that's for sure. He's always had talent on the team, just not enough. So, I don't think the problem lies with him. Caldwell I think he's on his last leash too. There's something missing that they're not clicking with. They're not doing something right. And we can all be pundits and we can all say they do this wrong, they do that wrong, and this and that and this and that. And that's not my job. I don't want to do that. All I want to do is I want to see them get better. And what are the plans in the future to get better? If you have to scour the list of players that have been cut from other teams to bring in to help this team, then you have to do that. That's what a GM has got to do. He's got to look around, call up Marrone, say, hey, such and such just got cut from such and such. Let's bring him in. Sure, bring him in. And that's what you got to do. They're just not clicking. There's just something very, very minute. It's just happening that they're not getting done, and it's an organizational thing. I truly believe that. And I thought that Tom Coughlin was going to be the guru of all gurus and come in here and fix everything. Well, his heavy-handed way didn't work at all. It was so alienated the players that you can't blame Tom Coughlin for that, because that's the way he is. He's a military kind of guy. But it just doesn't work with these kids these days. These kids, they want to be pampered instead of scolded. So, I do believe Jacksonville has some fundamental problems within their structure that they have to address. I think Doug Marrone is a competent enough coach where if he's got the pieces, he can win regularly. But something's not right. Something's not clicking, and I believe it's organizational.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point, that this organization needs to figure it out, needs to get it together, because they have different players, different talent, different situations coming through, yet they're having the same outcome recently here. And outside of one good season, it took them a decade to get back to the playoffs, and they got to the door of the Super Bowl, and they were unable to go farther from there. And not only that, but they haven't gotten back to the playoffs since then. It's one thing to knock on the door of the Super Bowl, but then you're supposed to go back to the playoffs and say, okay, well, this year we lost to the divisional round, or this year we lost the wild card. Now they're not even making it, so it looks like a fluke, which it wasn't. I know it wasn't. I was with them all the way through. But they have to prove themselves now. They have to figure this out. They had talent on the team that was also giant headaches on the team. They got rid of the Marcel Dariuses, and the Talvin Smith's obviously got his own stuff going on, but he's not with the team right now. And Jalen Ramsey and Yannick Ngakoue, they got rid of the issue. But now it's who's going to fill in at that spot. Where's the depth? You got all these draft picks. You've been trading all these guys away, getting rid of all this stuff, getting rid of these really good, strong vets like A.J. Boye and Calais Campbell. So what are you going to do with the picks? How are you going to build it? How are you going to build the depth? Who are your starters going to be? Who are your leaders? Who's your leader on defense? I know Gardner Minshew's your leader maybe overall, and I know he's your leader on offense, but who is your leader on defense? Who is it? Is it Miles Jack? Is it, C.J. Henderson just came in, so, who's going to be your guy? Is it Miles? Is it Avery Jones? Is it, what'd you say?
Schobert.
You think it's Schobert. So, and that's the thing, too, is he came in this season from Cleveland, so he's got to get comfortable, and he's got to get around the guys that have been there, and he's got to earn that respect and whatnot. So, where we sit right now with Jacksonville is they have a lot of work to do, and they're going to have to figure it out. And they need to not only, obviously you got to stay healthy, and I know that that's not always in your control, but beyond that, you got to make good decisions. You brought up the fact that Dave Caldwell has to be looking around the league at available players and call Doug Marrone, which brings up to me, did Bill O'Brien call himself, and did he use a different name? So, with all of that being said, we're going to take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we come back, where sports meets life, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we will be bringing you our thoughts on college football, as well as we'll get into the Major League Baseball playoffs with Papa Joe right here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Stay with us.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and also want to welcome you in for those of you that are watching on Facebook Live on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT. All of this is inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and Cafe Kubal is available to you in 5 locations: 3501 James Street, as well as 401 South Salina Street, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital, 324 West Water Street, and their newest location on 208 North Townsend Street for the Holly Green Cafe. And we are speaking here with Papa Joe inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. PJ and Mary can order this. You can order it anywhere in the world that you are. You can go to maandpaspopcorn.com, pick your favorite flavors, and use the promo code DT20. That's DT, my initials, DT20, DT20, and you get 20% off your order. If you're in Syracuse and you're going to be picking it up, you can still use that promo code online, get your 20% off, go into the store and pick it up on 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool. And if you're out of the area and you want to have it shipped to you, or if you're in the area and you're staying at home, socially distanced, whatever you're doing, and you want to have it sent to you, you could go to maandpaspopcorn.com and have the promo code DT20, and that will be sent to your doorstep with 20% off. So make sure you utilize that today. PJ and I talked a lot about the Jaguars inside of our segment here this morning. We're going to continue the conversation, but we're going to flip to the other field, which is the baseball field. Then we'll come back to the football field for some college football talk and our college football picks of this week. PJ, Major League Baseball playoffs. I told you going into this thing, very proud that I accurately predicted all of the winners of the first portion of this year's Major League Baseball postseason, and now we're into the nitty-gritty of it all as these teams are trying to advance forward. What can you tell me about what you've seen in the playoffs as of late?
Well, I like the way the Braves are playing. They're pitching really well. I think probably one of the weakest teams that made the playoffs is Miami, and that's showing right now. Because Atlanta has a 2-0 lead in the series, and best of 5, they can win it today. The Athletics and the Astros are playing lights out baseball. They're pounding the hell out of the ball. Pitching, forget about it. They're scoring 8-10 runs a game, and they're back and forth, back and forth. Houston leads that series 2-1, but that can go the whole 5 yards. I mean, they're fun to watch. The Rays and the Yankees, the Rays won last night. Tampa leads that series 2-1. They're capable of being. They won their division. What can I tell you? They beat the Yankees in the Yankees division, so they're capable enough to win this division. I'm not sure they'll go any farther than that. And the Dodgers and the Padres is another games that they're pounding the ball too. I thought that the Dodgers pitching would do better than it is. They are leading the series 2-0. Cody Bellinger made a great over-the-wall catch last night of a home run, a thought home run by Fernando Tatis Jr., and that sort of turned that game around. So the Dodgers have a 2-0 lead there against the Padres. And I thought that the Padres had enough to go forward, and I still think they do. I'm not sure you can beat the Dodgers 3 in a row because that's what they're going to have to do to win the best out of 5. But I think he's going to have arrested Kershaw now for the Dodgers, and I think he's probably ready, raring to go. He love to get the clincher and rest a little bit until someone else winds up winning. So, you look at the Braves keep going the way they're doing. The Dodgers are doing what they're doing. It could be the Braves and the Dodgers for the National League pennant. And you got the Astros and the Athletic. The Astros are, World Series champions against the Rays or the Yankees. I picked the Yankees early on to win it. So it could be the Yankees and the Astros playing for the American League pennant. So there's still a lot of variables out there. The Tampa and Yankee game, it's a 2-1 series. Tampa Bay leading. And Atlanta, the Athletics and the Astros are 2-1 with Houston leading that series 2-1. So there's still a lot of baseball to be played, but it's sure fun to turn on the TV now and watch it.
Yeah, and I was excited. I picked the Tampa Bay Rays, the New York Yankees, the Houston Astros, and the Oakland A's on the AL side. And on the NL, I picked the Dodgers, the Padres, the Marlins, and the Braves. And if you want to go back and check the tape on that one, you can go back to DT and Murphy, a spinoff from Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with my guy Brendan Murphy, where we make the picks, and we make picks throughout the world of sports in different, obviously different leagues, different things that are going on. And so in that one, we made our postseason predictions for Major League Baseball, our NBA Finals prediction, as well as college football for that week, which was Week 5, and NFL Week 4. And so I got all 8 teams right that are currently in the Major League Baseball postseason. But I had the Yankees over the Rays, the Astros over the A's, the Dodgers over the Padres, and I picked the Marlins to sleeper jump the Braves. But it's going to be really tough. PJ, I was paying a little bit of attention this in Game 3 because it was she's my little sister to me, and her name is Franny. She's my cousin, but I call her my little sis because we're very close, and she's been on the show a lot. And so Franny had her confirmation this week, and so we went to St. Daniel's Church, which you and I know very well, and we had her confirmation, and then we went out to dinner, and we were having a nice Italian dinner, and I kind of just looked over, looked through the glass to the bar area, and saw that the Rays at that point, it was 1-1, then it was 3-1, then it was 5-1, then it was 5-4. The Rays eventually won the game 8-4 over the Yankees. What are your thoughts in this series? The Rays have won 2 in a row. Yankees won Game 1. Game 4 is today on TBS at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time. What's your take on this? The Rays could close it out. Will they close it out?
The Rays have been playing the last 2-3 years what we call small ball. They don't hit a lot of homers, although they're capable of doing that. What they're doing is they're only pitching their starters for a couple of innings, and they go through their pitching staff, and before you know it, the 9 innings is over, and they've pitched 7 pitchers.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to plan for that because your lineup is set one way to try to beat the starter of the other team. And that's not happening, and the Yankees are finding a little problem with that. If the Rays can score enough runs where their pitching helps, the Rays are going to be tough. The Braves have Snell, who was a National League Cy Young Award winner. You got Charlie Morton, used to be with Houston. He's a tough one. Now they got another kid. What's his name? I'll think of it in a minute. So you got three really good starters. If you need them to go 4 or 5 innings, that's one thing. So I'm looking at it and trying to figure out what they're going to do.
Yeah.
The Yankees have all the power in the world. They can hit home runs, and then from anyone on the lineup, they're awesome. And their pitching's a little shaky because Tanaka pitched last night, and they knocked the heck out of him. So, it's difficult to figure, but the Yankees have got to play really good baseball today, or they're going to lose it. Now, I don't know who's pitching for. Tampa. I haven't got it on my computer here, but it'll be a good game. And the teams that are losing 2-1, that are in jeopardy of being closed out, 3 wins, have got some serious hitting to do, and that's where the Yankees got to come through.
Yeah, we're looking at right now for Tampa and New York today. Ryan Thompson is going to be going up against Jordan Montgomery for pitching wise.
Again, for the Rays, they'll pitch 1 or 2 innings at the most, and they'll keep rolling. They'll go through their pitching staff to stop the Yankees. And you can't prepare for something like that. If you're a manager of the other team and you're a hitting coach for the other team, how are you going to prepare if you don't know who's going to be pitching? And that's what Tampa does the best. Hey, if they have to pitch 9 pitchers for 9 innings, that's what they'll do to win, and that's what they will do.
Do you like that? Do you like them, doing that and utilizing that, type of strategy and whatnot? Do you feel that that's? I mean, you've been a long-time baseball fan, so what's your take on it?
Oh, it's awful, Daniel. I don't want to see baseball being played that way. And my bro up in Milwaukee, Brewski Hill, agrees with me too. Look, I'm from the old school. Give me Don Drysdale, give me Bob Gibson, who just passed away this last year. Bob Gibson would pitch until his arm fell off, and in most cases he would win. And that's what we're used to growing up. We're used to watching the Sandy Koufax, the Don Drysdales, Bob Gibsons, Tom Severs, and so on and so on and so on, where you pitched 9 innings, whether you were losing 5-4 or winning 1-0. You stuck it out. Your arm was good. Your arm was tough. Now these kids these days can't even go 5 innings without complaining about something. So my answer is no. I don't like it. I hate it. But it's baseball. So you gotta go with it. If you love the game, you try to do your best to watch it and try to find out what's happening. I have a pretty good idea what's going to happen before it happens anyway. Give me Bob Gibson any day compared to what they're doing now.
That coming from PJ. PJ, the Braves have a chance to close out their series, as he said today, against the Miami Marlins. That game's going to be at 2:08, very random time, 2:08 p.m. Eastern time on Fox Sports 1. Oakland will play at Houston, and Houston has an opportunity to end the series today as they lead 2-1 at 3:35 p.m. Eastern time on TBS. We told you the Tampa Bay Rays will be facing off against the Yankees at 7:10 p.m. Eastern time on TBS. The Rays have the chance to close it out at 3-1, or the Yanks can tie it at 2-2. And the Dodgers and the Padres played a very close game. Dodgers won 6-5, which gave them a 2-0 lead. But the San Diego Padres, just like they didn't go away from the Cardinals, don't seem to be going away here. They have to win tonight at 9:08 p.m. Eastern time on the MLB Network if they hope to stay in the playoffs. PJ, before we hop out of here, we got to jump over to the world of college football. I got to ask you a question here about UCF. Now, UCF. Before we do our picks this week, UCF was ranked 11th in the nation. I'm going to bring out something that people might not be thinking about, but I know UCF fans are. 11th in the nation they were ranked, UCF, and they lost in their game most recently here to a Tulsa team that held Oklahoma State to 16 points in a 16-7 loss. Tulsa has been a strong team for a long time, and the record has not shown that, because they haven't closed out a game, but they've hung with the best of them. The best of the Big 12, the best of the American Athletic. UCF ranked 11th in the nation, loses to Tulsa, gets dropped from the rankings. Not to 18, not to 17, not to 25, gone. Other teams have lost inside of the rankings, and they've dropped 1 spot, no spots, 5 spots, 7 spots, but they're still there. For goodness sakes, Texas dropped 13 spots and they kept them in there. Why does UCF deserve to be taken from 11 to 0 after one loss when other teams in college football can lose once or twice and they're still regarded as a strong team?
Good point. I'm looking at the rankings here now, and they got UCF at number 29. I like your point, and I think it's well said. And I think that if you're going to do a poll like this for the fans out there, why are you putting the Big Ten teams in there before they even play? You got 6 teams in the Big Ten that are ranked in the top 25 that haven't played a game yet. UCF should be there. Minnesota's number 25. Michigan's number 20. Wisconsin 16. Oregon is not a Big Ten. Penn State and Ohio State. You know, Michigan and Minnesota have got to earn their way in. UCF, I think, has earned their way. They should be there. But the rest of the teams, and they're hoping. Let's put it this way: the polling people, they're hoping that the Big Ten can start up and play at a high level. But I don't know about that.
Well, and how stupid is this? The Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, and it's no offense to them, I'm using this as an example. They defeated Iowa State, who was ranked 23rd at the time. They defeated Georgia State and Georgia Southern. They get put into the top 25 at 23, but UCF drops out. Drops out from 11. Who drops out from 11? Nobody drops out from 11. If that was Alabama, they would have sat there. If that was Auburn, they would have maybe gone down to 13. If that was Tennessee, maybe they would go down to 17. If it was Wisconsin, they'd probably move up. How about this disgusting stat? This is ridiculous. This is insane, and it's to your point. Michigan has not played a game. The Big Ten does not start until October 24th, 3 days after my birthday. Papa Joe, brace yourself for this one. Michigan is not only in the top 25, they rose 3 spots from last week to this week, and they haven't played a game. They're 0-0, and they jumped 3 spots in the polls to number 20 in the AP. How do you go up in a poll without playing a game?
Oh, that's the alumni speaking right there, buddy.
I
like Louisiana Lafayette beat Iowa State the first game of the year. Iowa State is number 24, and Louisiana Lafayette is number 23. That's strange, and UCF is out. Look at that conference hasn't got a lot of respect since they started playing well. When Kiffin was down there with Florida Atlantic and UCF, and was Florida Southern in that conference too? I'm not sure, but anyway, they haven't got the respect that they deserve. They play good football, and certainly UCF should be more thought of than that. It's unfortunate.
And it's pretty funny to me also to take a look at this, and and it's not just UCF. I mean, if you're Oklahoma State, Cincinnati, Auburn, Tennessee, BYU, LSU, SMU, Virginia Tech, and Texas A&M, Texas, Louisiana, Iowa State, if you're any of those teams, you should be really pissed off. Because guess who's in the top 10? Penn State. And Penn State hasn't played a game either. So, I mean, it's like, how do you do this? This is like a preseason poll mixed into a real season poll. We're in the season right now. You want to make it, earn it. How do you say that to UCF? Well, you lost a game, so you don't deserve to be here. Well, how the hell does anybody deserve to be here that hasn't even played? That's like me picking up a basketball going, I'd like to take a shot, and somebody going, we believe you're going to make 70% of them. I mean, it's ridiculous. Shoot it. Shoot your shot. Go out and play. You can't do that. If you want to go on a date, you got to ask the girl out. If you want the job, you got to put the resume together, put a suit on, and go there. But if you want to be in the college football rankings, all you got to do is be a team in America whose alumni like to talk to people. That's all you have to do. And that's ridiculous to me. Penn State has done nothing to deserve anything this year. Michigan has done nothing to deserve anything this year. Minnesota has done nothing to deserve anything this year. And on and on. And Oregon has done nothing to deserve anything this year. And that's not me attacking your schools, ladies and gentlemen. That is a real conversation. You are 0-0. Michigan jumped 3 spots. That's probably more spots than they jump when Jim Harbaugh is coaching. So, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense, and it needs to be called out. The fact that there is a single team, one team, ranked in the nation's top 25 that hasn't played a game is an egregious offense to all of college football.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you, the games this week are going to shake some things up. I see Auburn lost, and they're number 13. They're 1-1, and LSU is 1-1 at 17. The only reason, and Texas A&M is 1-1 at number 21. The only reason those teams are still there is because of the strength of the SEC.
Yeah.
I know your people are going to get pissed at me. You know, all Lando talks about is the SEC. Well, you know, they're the best, and you got to recognize the teams that play in it. Auburn's probably not going to lose another game this year, and LSU's going to have to play like hell to not lose another one. But those teams with one loss are playing 500 ball are going to play a lot better as the season goes on. You're right about the Big Ten. It's unfortunate. You know, my bros in Wisconsin always talking about Wisconsin football, and they got a good shot this year of doing something good like they usually do. They run the ball. They got a good quarterback. So we'll see what happens with them. But they're not going to play football for another 2 weeks. We shouldn't have to be worried about burdening these guys. They should be off in another poll somewhere, you know, and let the teams that are playing. I tell you what, if UCF wins the next couple of games, they'll probably wind up in the top 25, but they'll still be behind the Big Ten teams that haven't even played yet.
Well, you know, Papa Joe, I'm going to put your name and my name in. We should be in the top 25 because we've done as much as Wisconsin and Penn State. So with all of that being said, let's get into our picks for week number 6. And some good games that are coming up here. Tulane, Willie Fritz, he got an extension. Willie Fritz is somebody that I've gotten to know over the last 7 or 8 years. Really respect him. Done a great job. Fantastic. When he came into Tulane, I was told that he wins everywhere he goes. And the coaches that were in the American Athletic at the time were so excited and saying, listen, we just respect the guy. And we know he's going to win at Tulane. Well, he started to. Houston has had their season all over the place due to Corona. What do you think about Tulane at Houston, which is a game that's going to be played tonight?
Well, Houston looks like, I thought they were going to be really, really, really good this year. But I can't see that happening. I like what Tulane's doing. Tulane's a tough school to play against. They do a lot of good things well. Tulane also is never been a powerful program enough to seep into the top 10. They get a chance to really do some good things this year, and I'd like to see them win this game.
Yeah, I got Tulane in this matchup winning this one as well. I think they got a lot of good that's coming in, Willie Fritz, and they send guys to the NFL, and you know they send running backs to the NFL and whatnot, and so a lot of respect for Tulane for all the talent that they send out there and the talent that they recruit and putting things together. I like it's a team that I like on the road, and that's because I feel like they're dangerous whether they're home or away. Houston, just to let people know, if you love D'Eriq King from Miami, he came from Houston and the Cougars. So just a little note there. I've been covering him for a bit when people didn't know who he was and didn't respect him because he played for little old Houston. Now he's at Miami and everybody wants to glorify the guy. Well, guess what? D'Eriq King was the same D'Eriq King in Houston. He was good then and he's good now. And, you know, it pays to cover all the conferences so that you can actually see some of these players and see what they're capable of before they get to the programs that are putting them in marquee situations. I think Houston deserves a lot of credit for recruiting D'Eriq King and bringing him in. Next game I want to talk about, of course, are your Gators. The Florida Gators are on the road at Texas A&M. I wore a Gator shirt and sent it to you to show you some love last Saturday. So the Gators at Texas A&M noon Eastern time on ESPN this Saturday. What do you have?
Well, you know, Florida can score with the rest of them, and I like their offense probably a whole lot. Their defense is a little squirrely right now. They got so many good athletes down there. I don't know what's going on, but they don't have a good enough plan. They better have one because Texas A&M can score, and with old Jimbo Fisher there, you know, he's gonna be putting a few wrinkles in there. But this is another game where I think Florida's going to have to outscore like 49-32 or something like that. They're going to have to outscore Texas A&M big because there's not going to be a lot of defense played in this game. And it pains me to say that because Florida usually is good on defense, but I can't see them stopping Texas A&M for too many times. I look for this to be in a high-scoring game. Of course, Florida, I think, comes out on top.
Yeah, you know, looking at this, I'm going to pick Florida in this game as well. I said over this season and next season they're going to have a shot at the college football to get into the college football playoff. And, you know, I think with Dan Mullen being there, they could be continuing to take shots at the college football playoff from here on out. So I think it's going to be good for them. Virginia Tech was not ranked in the last college football, or pardon me, the last rankings in the AP. They were left off. They were the first team off, number 26 essentially. They defeated Duke, who was 0-3 coming in. After defeating a winless team, they rose from 26 to 19. Again, the sense of it all, I know none of it. It doesn't make any logical sense. A team goes up 7 spots because they beat a team who has not won a single game. What do you think about Virginia Tech, now ranked 19th in the country after defeating a winless Duke, going up against number 8 North Carolina?
Well, they're both 2-0. UNC is playing at home. They look a little bit better on paper to me than Virginia Tech, and frankly, I think it's a pick'em game. But I like UNC because they're playing at home.
Yeah, I'm going with North Carolina too. I respect Justin Fuente and everything he's done at Virginia Tech. I'm confused by the ranking, but I do think it's going to be a good game and a strong game. I think it might be closer than people want it to be in North Carolina at Chapel Hill, but ultimately I'm going to pick Mac Brown and the North Carolina Tar Heels to get the dub. PJ, a couple more before we hop out of here. Tennessee at Georgia. Tennessee is ranked number 14th in the country. Been a long time since Tennessee was ranked, and then they jumped into it last year. This year, with less teams playing, they've been able to be in the top 25 and rise up a little bit here. Tennessee has only played a couple games, and both against unranked teams. South Carolina, they defeated them on the road 31-27, and they defeated Missouri at home 35-12. What do you think about Tennessee going up against the Georgia Bulldogs? The Bulldogs are ranked 3rd in the nation with a win at Arkansas 37-10 and over 7th-ranked Auburn at the time 27-6. What do you have for this?
This is going to be a tough game. This is going to be a lot tougher than people think. Being played at Georgia. Georgia showed me a lot by beating Auburn handily, I should say. And I don't like the way they jumped the Gators. The Gators were 3, and then Georgia was 4. Now they flipped positions. And the reason they did that is because they beat a top-ranked team in Auburn. So Tennessee has been coming on the last couple of years. They got a good Jeremy Pruitt's over there. He's recruiting the heck out of the players. He's doing a good job. This game will be close, but I think Georgia wins because of defense. But Tennessee's going to be around for a while, and I'm a little worried about when they play the Gators. So I'm not worried about that now. They got to beat Georgia, but they're not going to do that.
Yeah, I definitely have to give the dub here to Georgia in this one. I think that they're going to be able to pull it out and keep things interesting at the top of the rankings and in the SEC in general. As I said last year, we could have arguably seen Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and LSU all in the college football playoff. So a little bit interesting to see them do what they're doing. I mean, they're going to have to expand the playoff at some point, and I know that they're sitting here not doing it, but eventually I think the hand is going to be forced. Last two that we're going to have, PJ, I will bring you to Syracuse and Duke. I'll be at the game. It's the second game in the newly renovated Dome, only the second time the Dome's been open, and it'll only be open to us media, and then personnel and workers at Syracuse University will not be open to fans. It'll be on ESPN3. For those of you wondering, you can actually watch this game in Syracuse, since the new thing is that you can't watch Syracuse games in Syracuse. That's always fun. So you can now, and you can watch the Jets, but you can't watch the Syracuse Orange. That seems like a purgatory punishment. So Duke is playing at Syracuse. Yeah, I feel like the Kardashians and the New York Jets play in purgatory, so I hope to never go there. Duke at Syracuse, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time this Saturday. What do you got?
I think Syracuse has played the tougher teams so far this year, and I like them in this spot right here because they're playing at home.
Yeah, I did this with the midweek blitz as well. I'm picking Syracuse in this game to tough it out. I think Duke's going to give them some trouble. I think there's going to be some fits. Syracuse is going to have to definitely wake up in this game and take care of business, but I do believe that they'll come out with a win. Duke's been beating themselves up a lot. Syracuse is beating themselves up on offense, but Syracuse's defense should be chomping at the bit, just drooling for the opportunity to get after Duke, a team that's coming into the not the Carrier Dome anymore, the Dome, coming into the Dome at 0-4. Miami and Clemson. This, to me, is the game of the week. Miami is number 7th in the nation. Clemson is number 1. The game will be played this Saturday, October 10th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. What do you have for this?
Oh, this is going to be a barn burner, boy. This is going to be a hell of a game to watch. We're going to just see how good Manny Diaz's team is in Miami. You know, one thing when you're in Miami, if you're the coach of Miami, you don't ever have to leave Miami to recruit. Those kids all want to go to Miami down there, and they're all really good football players. The ones, a couple of them get to go to Florida or Florida State or UCF and things like that. But Miami's a hotbed of football. This is a tough game. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Lawrence is probably going to score a bunch of points. I don't know how good Clemson's defense is, but I know how good Miami's is. I think this will be a low-scoring game, opposed to probably what some people think with Lawrence throwing around for Clemson. But I really think that Miami's going to squeak this out, and it's going to be done on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, I love that you said that because I picked Miami as well. I thought Miami came into this season with a nice defense, but their offense has been electrifying. And where did that man come from again? D'Eriq King. He came from Houston. That's right. Houston, the American Athletic Conference. The conference that people don't appreciate or respect and drop out of the rankings. But when you go to Miami, all of a sudden everybody loves you. D'Eriq King's going to get it done. Miami's getting the dub this week. They're going to show themselves, but they're going to have to keep it all the way through the season if they hope to be in the ACC championship game where they might see Clemson in a rematch. PJ, as always, I appreciate you. I love you. And above all things, I think you and I are smarter than some of these polls out there. And at least I can go to bed and feel happy about that.
I agree. Okay. Have a good show.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
That coming from Papa Joe here this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Appreciating him as always. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we spin back around here where sports truly meets life, we will be joined by the man, Darius Kelly. Darius playing for Syracuse in Syracuse's history on the football field at defensive back. He transferred in as a JUCO transfer, junior college, and so he will be with us in just a moment to speak on being the head coach of the Catalina Foothills High School team in Arizona, of the Falcons, and getting an opportunity to have a season with their schedule being released, as well as his thoughts on Syracuse and college football in general, right after this.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavicolis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avicoli's, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or, of course, the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Trapper's Pizza Pub, located on 5950 Butternut Drive in East Syracuse. Right off of Bridge Street is your local community supporter right around the corner. Join us on site at Trapper's Pizza Pub for our live monthly broadcast supporting Central New York student athletes and their sports programs. Call 315-438-4444 for more information. And find us on Facebook and Instagram at Trapper's Pizza Pub. Trapper's Pizza Pub, your local community supporter, right around the corner.